Okay, so I'll be sharing today our efforts in the Philippine Statistics Authority and some of the initiatives in the Philippine statistical system in terms of the monitoring of the sustainable goals in the Philippines. Okay, so the outline of my presentation, I'll be presenting some background, our mechanisms, some of the mechanisms that were established for the monitoring of the Sustainable Development Goals, and then I'll briefly go through over the SDG pace of progress or our progress in terms of the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals in relation to the different indicators that were identified for the monitoring of the Sustainable Development Goals. And then I'll also be sharing some of the other initiatives that we're doing in the Philippine Statistics Authority and some next steps. Okay, as we all know, the Philippines, together with other 192 member countries of the United Nations, has committed towards the achievement of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which is the plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. So it is resolved to free the human race from the tyranny of poverty and to heal and secure our planet and ensure it has a unique and ambitious goal that no one will be left behind, which means everyone should be part of the progress, part of the achievement of the goal by end of 2030. Okay. To ensure that we will be able to achieve those goals, the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets that were identified by the United Nations, an interagency expert group on sustainable development goal, which is consists of heads of the different statistical offices of the different countries, develop an indicator framework that will be used to monitor the achievement of the sustainable development goals, the 17 goals and the 169 targets. And they were able to identify 244 indicators that were approved in March 2017. But latest update is that we now have 248 indicators for the monitoring of the sustainable development goals. Given those indicators, we in the Philippines, what we did was to conduct several workshops, consultations, to be able to know whether we will be able to monitor these indicators that were identified in the global indicator framework. And to date, we are monitoring 158 indicators to be able to monitor the 17 goals and the 98 targets. Among the 158 indicators, 98 of which are global indicators, which means indicators that were common or the same as the indicators identified by the global in the global indicator framework. And then we have 34 proxy indicators. These are indicators that are almost similar to the global indicators identified in the SDG indicator framework by the global community. However, it is not exact as the ones identified by the global community, but it is what we have in the Philippine statistical system. And then we have 26 supplemental indicators, and these are indicators that we in the Philippine statistical system deem useful in monitoring the 17 goals and the 98 targets, but were not part of the global indicator framework of the SDG. So we still continue to monitor these supplemental indicators even it's not part of the global indicator framework. So all in all, we have 158 indicators being monitored here in the Philippines. So if you will note from our SDG watch reporting in our website, those proxy indicators are can be identified as those with P in their number, in their ID number, and those with S are the supplemental indicators. Okay. To ensure that we will be able to really monitor the achievement of the SDG goals, there were some legal framework that were established to ensure board resolutions that were issued to ensure that we'll be able to monitor it and ensure the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And this includes the Presidential Proclamation on Civil Registration and Vital Statistics, as these are part of the one of the major sources of our monitoring of SDGs. And then the PSA Board Resolution number 4 Series 2016. This was approved in May 2016 by the PSA board. This enjoined all government agencies to provide data support to the SDG. This also assigned the Philippine Statistics Authority as the one mandated to monitor the overall monitoring of SDG indicators in the country. And then in 2017, we approved and adopted the initial list of SDG indicators to be monitored in the Philippines, as well as other resolutions like the enjoining support for the Philippine Statistical System for the implementation of the Cape Town Global Action Plan for Sustainable Development Data, and the endorsement of the Philippine Statistical Development Program, which includes activities related for the monitoring of the SDGs. Part of the mechanisms that we established to ensure that we'll be able to monitor the SDGs is the establishment of the SDG indicator for focal points. So as you may all know, the monitoring of the SDGs, not all data just come from PSA. Some of the data comes from the different government agencies. Actually, this SDG indicator for focal points, we have 34 national government agencies that are providing data as input for the monitoring of the SDG indicators. So we do the coordination with them. The PSA is the one in charge for the overall coordination with these agencies to ensure that we will be able to monitor the different indicators for the monitoring of the SDGs. And then other mechanisms that we have from the PSA website, we have the SDG webpage, and we have the SDG Watch and the SDG database. The SDG Watch is annual reporting that we do where we present the baseline data for each of the indicators. We provide the latest data for the indicator through our coordination with the different data source agencies, as well as with some of the data coming from the Philippine Statistics Authority. And we also present the targets for each of the indicators. The targets were identified through the leadership of the National Economic and Development Authority and in consultation with the different relevant agencies. So if the indicator is related to primary education, it's really the DepEd who provides the targets for those indicators. And these are presented in the subcommittee groups that were created by the National Economic and Development Authority. So this is an annual reporting that the PSA does, and the SDG Watch is available from the PSA website. And then we maintain the series through an SDG database, which is also available from our website. Okay. And then, in addition to the national monitoring of SDGs, we also identified core regional SDG indicators. So, to ensure that we are also monitoring at the regional level, we have regional offices. The PSA has regional offices, and these regional offices monitors also the SDGs through 70 indicators that were identified as the core regional SDG indicators. And these are used to monitor 14 goals and 42 targets at the regional level. So our regional offices also have their respective SDG watch displayed in the different website of our regional offices to ensure that monitoring of our SDGs is also available at the monitored at the regional level. And then we created an online SDG reporting platform through the leadership, through partnership with UNICEF. So this is an online submission of data coming from our data source agencies so that to facilitate the monitoring of the SDGs. So data source agencies are just will be submitting data online. And then we will be the one to consolidate and estimate for the pace of progress based on their submission and present them in our website through various visual IEC materials. And then, as I've mentioned, we are generating the SDG pace of progress, making use of the National SDG Tracker, was introduced by the UNSCAP. And later on, I'll be discussing more on the SDG pace of progress on how we do this and on how we estimate this. Okay. So these are also available. Our SDG pace of progress are also available from our website. Okay, as I've mentioned, there's also we have the SDG pace of progress at the goal level, at the target level, and at the indicator level. And we also produce other IEC materials to help other the public, our stakeholders, for better appreciation of the SDG monitoring that we are doing, and to know how we are doing in the different indicators. Okay. Now let me go to the measures for tracking our progress. So, well, through PSA Board Resolution number 5, series of 2020, the PSA adopted the UNSCAP measures for measuring our progress in terms of the achievement of the SDG. We are using two measures, the current status index and the anticipated progress index. The current status index tells us how much progress has been made since 2015. So we looked at 2015 as our base year, where the Millennium Development Goals ended, and where we started to monitor the Sustainable Development Goals. And then we looked at the latest estimate and look and compare this if we are on track or off track, and compare it with our target for 2030. So our data requirement for the current status index is to have at least two data points and the 2030 numerical target. For the current status index, we use this for reporting at the goal level. For the target and indicator level, we make use of the anticipated progress index, and this provides information on how likely will the targets be achieved by 2030. For this indicator, for this anticipated progress index, we need at least three data points and the 2030 numerical target to be able to report on the anticipated progress index. So as I mentioned earlier, the targets were identified by the different relevant agencies through the different, and these are discussed through the different subcommittees being coordinated by the National Economic and Development Authority. Okay, so for the current status index, if we have a certain target for it, numerical target for 2030, if the bar reaches or crosses the 2023 line, it has made the expected progress to date. However, it misses the target for that year, for the 2023 line, it has made progress but still short to achieve the expected progress. So we still need to accelerate our efforts to be able to achieve what is expected for that year. And then we also have if the bar show progress but it's towards the opposite direction, we are saying that it regresses. So we really need to double our efforts to be able to be on track and achieve the 2030 target. So this is the current, based on the data that we have as of now, November 6, 2024, for the different goals and targets. For the different goals, this is our progress to date. Um, okay, so if we, as we can see, we only passed the 2023 target for SDG goal 12, responsible consumption and production, and for life below water. However, if you may note, this line refers to the number of indicators that we are using for monitoring these goals. So for goal 14, while we surpass the target for 2023, we only make use of one indicator because that is the only one that satisfies the needed two data points and the numerical target. Also for goal 12, we only have two indicators to monitor out of the four is supposed to be indicators that we need to monitor for this goal. And then as we can see, there are also indicators where we are regressing, like in goal 3, good health and well-being, in goal 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure, in Goal 11 on sustainable cities and communities, and in Goal 13, climate action. So those with insufficient data are presented with checkered bars to provide information that we're not able to report at least even half of the indicators that should be monitored for those goals. Okay, so that's our status currently for our at the goal level. Now we'll now go to the target and indicator level. So as I mentioned earlier, we are using anticipated progress index for monitoring whether we are able to achieve the expected progress, how likely will the targets be achieved by 2030 for each of the indicators and target level. So if we are on track, if the progress is between 0 to 10, we need to accelerate our efforts if our progress is between 10 to 100, and we are regressing if the progress is between negative 100 or less than 0. So if we will look at the out of the 158 indicators that we are reporting for SDG, only 96 indicators are able to satisfy the needed requirement, which is at least 3 data points in the 2030 numerical target. And if we are to aggregate this 96 indicators, we'll be able to monitor 63 of the targets. Looking at the progress for these 96 indicators, 28 of which we are on track. So given the current effort, current data that we have, we'll meet the target with current rate or minor effort. We have 43 indicators where we need to accelerate our effort to be able to meet the target by 2030. And there are 25 indicators where we are regressing or no progress expected given the current data and given the current efforts that we have provided for these indicators. Okay, so let me now go through the different goals. So under goal 1, no poverty, 2 indicators are on track. This includes poverty indicators. Target 1.1 on poverty living less than $90 or the international poverty line, and also the national poverty line. We are on track on this indicator, so we're likely to achieve our target by 2030. But we are regressing on uh, own or owner-like possession of housing units, and deaths or missing affected persons from disasters. And then there are other indicators. There are 6 indicators where we need to accelerate our efforts. Under goal 2 or zero hunger, we have one indicator where we are regressing. Where we have 2 indicators where we are regressing. We have meeting 100% recommended energy intake under food security. And we also have malnutrition, which includes 2 indicators, overweight and wasting. So we are regressing for the under this target for under this indicator on malnutrition. Under good health and well-being or goal 3, we are regressing in 8 indicators. We are on track in 3 indicators, but we are regressing on 8 indicators and 7 indicators where we need acceleration. If we will look at the 8 indicators where we are regressing, these are in neonatal mortality, in new HIV infections, tuberculosis incidence, malaria incidence, in non-communicable diseases, in road traffic deaths, and in unintentional poisoning and in essential drugs in public health facilities. We are on track, on the other hand, on drug users who completed treatment in age standardized current tobacco use and current tobacco use. For quality education or goal 4, we have 4 indicators where we are on track, and these are in completion rate, cohort survival rate, passing rate in licensure examination, and exposure to internet. However, we are regressing in 3 indicators. That's in proficiency level in reading and mathematics, organized learning before primary entry age, and TVET trainers trained. Under goal 5, we have 2 indicators where we are regressing and 1 indicator where we are on track. We are on track in terms of the indicator on reported abuse cases for women and children, but we are regressing on SDG 5.5.1 on seats held by women in national parliaments and local governments and in women in managerial positions. Under Goal 6, or Clean Water and Sanitation, we have 2 indicators where we are on track. That's in access to basic drinking water services and in monitored bodies of water. but we are regressing. But we are regressing in we have zero indicators that where we are regressing, but there are two indicators where we need acceleration. That's in access to basic sanitation services and hand washing facility with soap and water, and in implementation of programs and projects in the integrated river basin master plans. Under goal 7, we have one indicator where we are on track, and one indicator where we need to accelerate our efforts. Where we are on track, it's in energy intensity, and in the indicator where we need to accelerate further efforts is on access to electricity. Under Goal 8, or decent work and economic growth, we have four indicators where we are on track, but we have one indicator where we are regressing, and it's in real GDP per capita growth. This is highly affected by during the pandemic years where we had negative growth. That's why because we make use of the previous data points in estimating our progress. Hence, previous data can affect our projection on how we are more likely to achieve the 2030 target. Okay, but hopefully we will be able to provide exert efforts to be able to be on track on this indicator. Okay. And on the other hand, we have four indicators where we are on track, and these are in youth, not in education, employment, or training. Also on track on employed in tourism out of total employed, in financial access points with cash in and cash out services, and cities and municipalities with bank branches and cash agents. Under goal 9, we have two indicators that we are regressing. These are in manufacturing value added per GDP or per capita, and in manufacturing employment to total employment. Also, in reduced inequalities, we have one indicator where we are regressing, and this is in population living below 50% of the median income. Now, under goal 11, we have two indicators where we are regressing, and this is a repeating indicator. There are certain indicators which appear in a number of goals and targets, like deaths or missing or affected persons from disasters. Um, in this indicator, we are regressing because as we know, we would like to have zero deaths during times of disaster. So for this indicator, we are regressing. Also in ambient air quality, we are also regressing in SDG 11.6.2 P1. When we see P, this refers to proxy indicators. Now, under Goal 12 on responsible consumption and production, we have two indicators that are on track. That's why for this goal, we are beyond what is expected for 2023. These are industrial hazardous waste or generated or treated, and in implementation of standard accounting tools to monitor the economic and environmental aspects. Now, under Goal 13, for climate action, we have one indicator where we are regressing, and this is on the same indicator that were reported earlier, the deaths or missing affected persons from disaster. Under life below water, unfortunately, we are only monitoring one indicator for this goal, and it is on track, the marine protected areas. And on goal 15, life on land, we have two indicators that are on track, and these are important sites for terrestrial and freshwater biodiversity and the Red List Index. Now, for the last two goals, or for goal 16, we have peace, justice, and strong institutions. We have three indicators that are on track. These are intentional homicide, families that feel safe walking alone around the area and they live at night, and the index crime rate. But we are regressing for 1691, proportion of children registered with a civil authority, or the birth registration of birth certificates for children. And then lastly, for goal 17, partnership for the goals, we have one indicator that is on track, and that's exposure to internet. This is also a repeating indicator, as you may note was also present in the other goals. And there are four indicators where we need acceleration. Okay. In addition to those efforts that we are currently doing for the monitoring of the SDG, as we know, I mentioned earlier, we want that no one should be left behind. That's why we try as much as possible to have data at the with lower levels of disaggregation. So for 2024, the PSA conducted monitoring of the community-based monitoring system together with the census, with the population census in 2024. So, and we included 28 SDG indicators in the questionnaire of the community-based monitoring system. This will be used for the local monitoring of SDGs at the community, at the city or municipal level. And hopefully this will be useful for our local planners, our governors, mayors, to make use of these indicators, to make use of this information to be able to achieve the goal at their level, at the local level. And then all the SDG indicators were also incorporated in the Philippine Development Plan 2023-2028. This is to ensure that our Philippine Development Plan and the SDGs are, in a way, integrated, or they are the SDGs are incorporated or considered in the development of the Philippine Development Plan. So some of the indicators, about 60 plus indicators, were included in the Philippine Development Plan 2023 to 2028. And also, the inputs, the monitoring that we do at the national and regional level are considered in the preparation of the regional SDG Catch-up Plan. The NEDA regional offices are, through consultation with the regional relevant offices, created an catch-up plan to be able to know, to look at those indicators where we are lagging behind, and develop programs and projects that will help to be able to achieve the goals and targets for those indicators where we are lagging behind based on the information that we are reported by the PSA. And then the Philippines also participates, is actually a member of the Interagency Expert Group on SDGs. Currently, the Interagency Expert Group on SDGs is conducting the comprehensive review of the SDG indicators, looking at the global indicator framework to ensure that all these are actually being monitored by the different statistical offices, and whether these are really relevant for the monitoring and achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Also, we are part of the ASEAN Working Group on the SDG goals, SDG indicators monitoring by the ASEAN. So we are also submitting our reports or our monitoring for some of the indicators to the ASEAN, who also produce ASEAN level reporting on SDGs. And they are also maintaining an SDG database among the ASEAN countries. So right now we're continuously updating the SDG Watch, the SDG database, and the SDG Pace of Progress. So it's being done annually in consultation, in coordination with the different data source agencies. However, there are still a number, as you may note, we are only monitoring 158 indicators, and only 90 plus of which are part of the global indicators. But so we have a Philippine Statistical Development Program. It is a compilation of the different statistical activities that aims to um, achieve to develop indicators, or develop methodologies and address data gaps for the monitoring of indicators in the Philippine Development Plan, as well as in the Sustainable Development Goals and other commitments of the country. So right now, there are a certain number of statistical programs which hopes to be able to address the data gaps for some of the indicators where we have not yet started reporting. And to end my presentation, allow me to share this video.
Hi, ma'am. Ma'am, it seems that there's no sounds po. Audio. Audio on the video.
Mm. Mm. Thank you very much again for this opportunity, and hopefully I was able to provide some information that will be useful for everyone. Thank you.